Hey everyone, and welcome back to Sip and Talk. This is, believe it or not, episode 419.
Wow, 419. That number just feels like we're getting close to something, you know?
Huh. You are definitely eager for episode 500.
I am. Seriously, folks, what do you want us to do for number 500?
Should we, live challenge ourselves to drink 500 sips of coffee?
Or, oh gosh, try to read 500 Chinese state media slogans in one go?
Yeah, that might be the end of us. We'd just say, see you next time and collapse.
Okay, so hey, seriously though, drop us a comment. For 500, should we do something big, like a live recording, maybe a special guest, or, I don't know, the most daring episode ever?
You tell us, we'll think about it. But today, for 419, we're diving into some financial currents, macroeconomics, that kind of thing.
Yeah, specifically there's buzz about President Trump and President Xi possibly meeting. Just possibly.
Right, and if that happens, maybe it eases tensions just a tiny bit. Could open up some investment angles.
And just to set the stage, our goal here, as always, is to look at the economic picture objectively. Give you the facts from an international viewpoint, no spin.
Okay, let's unpack this. Geopolitics seems to be driving things right now. All eyes are kind of drifting towards the APEC summit. That's in Gyeongju, South Korea.
And the big speculation is, will Trump and Xi actually meet there? Maybe even around October 30th.
It's interesting because the market isn't really betting the farm on it. Expectations seem low.
Exactly. But the meeting itself, even if it's low-key, could be pretty crucial.
Why is that? Just the symbolism?
Well, partly. But it's mainly about reducing some of this systemic uncertainty floating around. You know, the current U.S.-China tariff truce, that's set to expire November 10th.
Ah, right. So even just a meeting, a handshake, could buy some time, some stability.
Precisely. And if we look at what might actually come out of it, the thinking is it'll likely be about lowering trade friction temporarily, probably centered on agricultural stuff.
Okay, so what are the priorities? I heard Trump has a few main points.
Yeah, the talk is around three things: rare earths, fentanyl, and soybeans.
Right. And the easiest lift there is probably
always the commodities. Soybeans, wheat, corn. If China agrees to buy more, or just confirms existing purchases, that's the most likely point of agreement.
Makes sense. Helps U.S. farmers, probably gives commodity prices a little bump. Easy win-win, sort of.
It is. And that little bit of stabilization, even if it's small, it matters for other sectors too, like tech.
How so?
Well, while farming goods are relatively easy, rare earths are way trickier, strategically vital. And China just expanded export controls on those not long ago.
So we're not expecting China to suddenly reverse course on rare earths?
Probably not immediately. The hope is more for like a commitment, maybe agreeing to some long-term mechanism to keep the high-tech supply chain a bit more stable.
Predictability. The industry just needs to know what's coming, more or less.
Exactly. Even a high-level agreement on supply chain stability would be a pretty big deal for reducing risk.
Okay. Speaking of high-stakes moves and risk, we got to talk about Argentina.
Yeah.
This whole dollar diplomacy thing.
Oh, yeah. Treasury Secretary Scott Benson just signed off on a huge deal, right? A $20 billion economic stabilization agreement. It's a swap line with Argentina's central bank.
$20 billion?
Yeah.
That's a lot. What's the thinking there? What's the motivation for jumping in so big, so fast?
Well, the secretary was pretty clear, almost ideological about it. He basically said the goal is to lock in dollar supremacy, using the dollar not just financially, but as an economic tool, a statecraft tool.
But what really jumps out is how opaque the whole thing is. Benson keeps saying it's a bridge to a better economic future.
Yeah.
Definitely not a bailout.
Right, but the details on the collateral, what Argentina actually put up for this, it's all hidden. Reports say even the intermediary banks don't know the full picture.
And there are rumors swirling, right? Uranium reserves, special market access.
Yeah, whispers like that. And the key thing here is that the secrecy itself tells you something. It signals risk, political risk, especially since this is happening right before Argentina has some critical midterm elections.
Markets hate that kind of hidden risk.
Yeah.
Just adds to the overall shaky feeling.
Totally. And adding fuel to that fire, you've got the U.S. government shutdown still dragging on. What is it, day 21 now? No clear end in sight. That hits federal payments, economic confidence.
And we saw a pretty sharp reaction in traditional safe assets, didn't we? Gold and silver took a nosedive.
A huge one. Down about 5.6% in a single day. That's like the biggest drop in over a decade, something like 12 years. Probably a lot of profit taking, but it shows how volatile things are.
So all this volatility, it makes sense that capital would look for safer places, right? But maybe not volatile metals.
Exactly. The really big move isn't into gold or silver right now. It seems to be a flight towards structural quality. If the day-to-day geopolitics are chaotic, the smart money often looks for foundational growth that isn't tied to the economic cycle.
And that means?
That means AI. Artificial intelligence.
Right. This isn't just another tech trend, is it?
Yeah.
It feels more fundamental, like a whole restructuring of computing. Maybe like electricity coming online or the internet itself.
That's the scale people are talking about. And look at the projections. The global AI market is forecast to hit, $184.7 billion next year?
Wow.
And then projected to reach $826.7 billion by 2030. That's a compound annual growth rate of 37%. It's staggering.
And just the spending on the infrastructure for AI is huge too, right?
Yeah.
Over $100 billion expected next year.
Exactly. And when people bring up the dot-com bubble comparison, they're kind of missing a key difference.
Which is?
Real revenue.
Yeah.
The big players now, like NVIDIA, Microsoft, they're generating massive, measurable income. NVIDIA's data center revenue was up like 217% last fiscal year.
This isn't just companies burning cash on an idea.
I know, and it's delivering actual productivity gains. You see tools like GitHub Copilot. Studies are showing it boosts programmer productivity by 20%, sometimes even 40% on specific tasks. The ROI is there. It's pretty immediate.
Okay, so the real core opportunity, at least for now, might be in that infrastructure layer. The picks and shovels you need to build all this AI stuff.
That seems to be where a lot of the big foundational investment is going. It's non-negotiable if you want to build this future.
And we're seeing an explosion in the hardware needed.
Absolutely. NVIDIA's next big thing, the Blackwell GPU architecture. It's already in mass production, offers like 2.5 times the performance, uses 25% less power than the last generation.
Impressive specs. But what's really telling is the demand.
Oh, yeah. The order backlog for Blackwell apparently stretches out through the third quarter of 2026.
2026. That's incredible visibility. It proves the demand is validated. People are lining up.
For sure. But it's not just NVIDIA's game anymore. AMD is really stepping up.
Taking a serious challenge.
Definitely the most significant challenge to NVIDIA's, like 80% market share. They've got that strategic partnership with OpenAI using their MI450 accelerators.
So it's becoming more of an oligopoly. Two major players.
Pretty much, which, can actually be good. Drives innovation, helps keep costs in check for the big cloud providers, the hyperscalers.
And those hyperscalers need massive amounts of computing power.
Insane amounts. Yeah. Look at that deal between Anthropic and Google Cloud. It just highlights the huge sums of money being poured into securing the computational power needed to train these next-gen large language models.
But concentrating all that power in a few big clouds, that has its own risks, doesn't it?
It does. And we saw that play out, didn't we? That AWS outage back on October 20th.
Right. That definitely made people nervous about relying too much on one provider.
Yeah, it immediately amplified those concerns. And it directly fuels interest in other approaches like decentralized solutions using multiple clouds, edge computing.
Okay, edge computing. Pushing the computation closer to where the data is actually generated, closer to the user.
Exactly. And that shift leads right into the next big wave, the devices we actually use every day.
You mean AI built right into our computers and phones?
Yep. We're moving processing power out of the distant cloud and literally into our hands. Projections are showing something like 200 million AI-ready PCs and maybe 500 million AI smartphones shipping next year in 2025.
And these will have special chips inside.
That's the key architectural shift. They'll feature dedicated NPUs, neural processing units, hardware specifically designed for AI tasks.
What does that mean for us practically?
It means faster response times, lower latency. It means better privacy because more of your data can stay right on your device instead of going to the cloud. And it means apps can work better or even fully when you're offline.
So this is a pretty fundamental upgrade cycle for consumer tech, maybe the biggest since 5G rolled out.
You could definitely argue that. It changes the capabilities at the endpoint.
And building all this.
Wrong.
The software, the hardware integration requires serious talent.
Oh, the talent wars are brutal. Absolutely ruthless right now.
Like that example with Meta poaching an Apple exec.
Exactly. Meta aggressively recruited Kei Yang from Apple, why? To lead critical AI work their Llama models, the metaverse stuff, even optimizing their ad platforms.
When the pool of top-tier AI engineers is limited.
Big tech sees hiring them as basically existential. They'll pay almost anything.
Okay, so that's the hardware and the talent.
Yeah.
What about the software itself? It's not just about making bigger AI models, right? They have to be actually useful.
Right, more practical. And that's where you see innovations like Anthropic's Claude skills, That launched mid-October.
Claude Skills, what's the idea there?
It basically lets paid users teach Claude how to do specific, complex, even proprietary tasks. You don't need complicated coding or retraining. You just use simple folders with instructions, maybe some code script.
And Claude just learns the skill.
It automatically loads that skill when it's relevant to the conversation or task.
Yeah.
The reports say it dramatically improves consistency, cuts down rework time by like 20 to 50%.
So it moves AI beyond just being a general chatbot, makes it more like a specialized assistant you can customize?
Exactly. A scalable professional assistant.
That sounds pretty useful. Does it tie into any broader philosophies about AI development?
Yeah, actually, it lines up really well with how people like Andrej Karpathy think about it, co-founder of OpenAI.
Right. What's his take?
His core idea is that building powerful AI is ultimately an engineering challenge. It's not some kind of magic. He has that great line, if you can't build it, you don't understand it.
Okay.
And Claude Skills kind of embodies that. You're using these editable modules, the skills folders, to directly inject problem-solving strategies into the AI. It makes the AI function more like, Karpathy says, like a human with a notebook, systematically engineering the intelligence in.
That makes sense. Engineering, not magic. But none of this engineering, none of these chips or skills would even be possible without the absolute foundation, right? The silicon itself.
Absolutely. And you have to acknowledge Taiwan's central role here. They produce something like over 90% of the world's most advanced chips. It's dominance.
And their history of innovation is why we even have chips powerful enough for today's AI. There's that story about immersion lithography.
Oh, yeah. The Dr. Lin Benjin's story at TSMC back in the early 2000s. It's legendary. Moore's law was hitting a wall.
What did he propose?
Immersion lithography. Basically, putting a layer of ultra-pure water between the lens projecting the circuit pattern and the silicone wafer.
Water. How does that help?
It effectively shortened the wavelength of the light being used. They were using 193 nanometer light. The water bent the light, effectively making it act like 134 nanometer light.
Which let them draw much smaller transistors.
Dramatically smaller. It was a huge engineering gamble, but it paid off massively. It kept Moore's law going and enabled the kind of chip density we rely on today. That breakthrough literally changed the world's technological trajectory.
Amazing. And now, fast forward, those advanced chips are enabling AI to tackle real-world problems, global problems even.
For sure. Take the environment sector, those floating solar farms down in Pingtung, Taiwan.
What's the issue there?
Bird droppings, dust, debris. They create hotspots on the panels. Cuts energy production way down and can even be a fire risk, causing self-ignition.
So how does AI help?
There's a solution called Solomon's Generative AI Visual. It uses AI to analyze images taken by drones flying over the farm. And here's the cool part. The AI was trained largely on synthetically generated images of panel flaws.
So it didn't need millions of real pictures of bird poop.
Apparently not. And it instantly spots the panels with problems, so cleaning crews only need to deal with the affected ones right away. Super specific, super efficient, critical for maintaining those farms.
That's a great example. What about other areas, like healthcare?
Another great application. Look at Acer Health's Veracy DR software. It screens for diabetic retinopathy, that's eye damage from diabetes, a leading cause of blindness.
Okay, AI for medical diagnosis. We hear about that.
But what's key here is the model is lightweight. It doesn't need some monster gaming GPU to run. It works on a standard office PC.
So it makes powerful diagnostics much more accessible.
Exactly. Think about remote areas or places like the nation of Palau, where they might not have many specialized eye doctors. This kind of AI democratizes access to crucial screening. It shows how chip advancements make powerful AI usable almost anywhere.
Wow. Okay, so quite a journey today. We went from potential high-level political meetings to bird poop on solar panels.
Yeah. So just to recap the key takeaways, maybe, we kind of walk that tightrope of U.S.-China trade talks, low expectations, but maybe small, useful agreements are possible.
Then we looked at that really murky U.S. dollar diplomacy in Argentina, where the lack of transparency is basically the main message, high risk there.
And then, most importantly, we really dug into the massive, necessary, and actually quite diverse growth happening in AI. Everything from the giant infrastructure players like NVIDIA and AMD
to really practical software breakthroughs like those Claude Skills and incredible real-world applications enabled by Taiwan's chip prowess.
Right. It's happening on multiple fronts.
Okay, so here's a final thought to leave you, our listener, chewing on. We see these giant tech companies, the hyperscalers, Microsoft, Google, spending absolutely billions rationally on AI infrastructure, right? Chips, data centers, the whole 9 yards.
Undeniable massive investment.
So the question is, should you, as an investor perhaps, bet your money primarily on that seemingly lower risk picks and shovels layer, the NVIDIAs, the infrastructure?
Or do the potentially mind-boggling returns of the application layer, the software, the specific AI solutions still justify taking on that bigger gamble?
It's that classic risk-reward calculation, isn't it? But just amplified like crazy by a technology that is genuinely reshaping everything.
A big question to ponder. And as always, everything we talked about today was grounded in objective analysis, factual reporting. We stick to our commitment here at Sip&Talk for critical and independent thinking. No spin, no bias towards any group or nation.
Absolutely. Well, that's our time for today. Definitely subscribe to the Sip&Talk podcast so you don't miss our next conversation.
And hey, check out our good friend Mickey's YouTube channel, Mickytolife. He's got memes, liquor tastings. His latest Europe vlog is probably up. Always good fun over there.
For sure. Check them out. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next time.